You're listening to the Constructing You podcast. Hi, I'm Eleanor Moshe, and I'll be sharing the stories of the people behind the projects. You'll get to hear interviews with exceptional leaders and industry titans in the construction and development space. I don't only want to find out what they do, but who they are and who they had to become to achieve what they have. You'll get insights, ideas, and advice that will serve to construct your career and life to reach new heights and show you what's possible. Let's go on this journey to construct ourselves together. You ready? As visionary entrepreneurs, thought leaders, change makers, disruptors, movers and shakers, there is one shared ambition amongst us: changing the lives of others. How each one of us does that is uniquely different and congruent to our person, our vision, our purpose. Our common duty is to show others what's possible and to bring our better, improved version of the future into the present, so that the people who choose to come into our world also have a better, improved version of it. It's what we choose to do every single day. And the irony is that the larger the vision, the easier it gets. Not always easier in execution, but easier to stay in the arena, to get back up, to persist through the unimaginable, and do everything we can with our mindset, our skill set, our heart set, and our soul set to make this vision a glorious reality. We're dreamers, but with enough hustle to change the world. So to celebrate what is the 100th episode on Constructing You, and to wholly remark and embody what this podcast stands for, I could only bring you a conversation that is exceptional to its core. Not only because of what the person has done, but because of who they are and who they'd become to achieve what they have. It is with incredible pleasure and a privilege that I get to bring you my interview with the leading visionary entrepreneur of the construction industry, Tooey Courtemanche. Craig Tooey Courtemanche is the founder, president, and chief executive officer of Procore Technologies. Beginning his professional life as a builder, Tooey has always been passionate about building things and straddled two worlds that felt disconnected: construction and technology. Discovering the world of software in the 1990s, Tooey left his professional real estate developer career to immerse himself in the Silicon Valley tech boom. Working in San Francisco inspired him to found his first web startup, which enabled Fortune 1000 companies to transition from analog to web services. It was here that he learned firsthand the impact digital transformation could have on different industries. In 2013, Tooey brought his two passions, technology and construction, together and started Procore. He set out to build a company that connected everyone in construction on a global platform and thus improved the lives of everyone in construction. He knew the best way to do this was to invest in a culture from day one, and has since created a culture of Procorians who have empathy for the industry they serve and thrive when they're on site with customers, working alongside them to develop solutions to the challenges they face. For the last 17 years, Procore has been winning awards for its customer-first products and culture-first teams. Over 1.3 million owners, general contractors, and specialty contractors across the globe use the Procore platform to do what they do best: build. I won't provide a highlight reel as per usual, for I want this very special event, and the wisdom and the insight generously provided by Tooey to be the first time you experience it in full force, as I did. To glean this insight into the global success of Procore is an experience unto itself. I would like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of my exceptional listeners across the globe who choose to listen to Constructing You and be part of the growing family who also choose to be exceptional, exemplary, and excellent people behind the project. Thank you to every guest who said yes in the 100 episodes that have been. Thank you to my mentor, Ron Malhotra, for without you, no podcast would have been spoken into reality. The efforts of the Procore family who made this interview possible is met with a heart full of gratitude and, of course, deep appreciation. Thank you for believing in the power of connection. And above all, thank you to Tooey for seeing my vision and being part of the change to the lives of each person in the construction industry. I cannot thank you enough. Without any further ado, here's to Constructing You with Tooey Courtemanche. The man, the myth, the legend, Tooey Courtemanche. Welcome to Constructing You.
Well, thank you. Man, the myth, the legend. I love it, but that's definitely not me. But thank you for having me. I'm very honored to be here.
It is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to be in conversation with you. And above all, it is my 100th episode on Constructing You. So milestone and milestone for the industry.
That's so cool. I feel like I won the lottery. That's fantastic. Well, lucky 100 is a good number. So let's do this.
Well, when I started the podcast, I never thought I would end up here, but most importantly, I want to know about Procore's origin, and it is well known that Procore is well on the way to doing something unimaginable by most, in an industry unbeknown by most, and only doable with those who choose to pursue excellence daily. Tooey, can you take us back to 2002 when Procore began, and what was your big picture vision that you still hold today? I mean, how did this all come to be, including the house that Procore built?
Pretty straightforward, actually. The story is long, obviously, but the message is simple, which was I grew up in construction, I ran a technology company, built a house, and I brought all of that together with probably all the pain that most people feel during a construction process that is highly uncoordinated, right? So, as I was going through the process of building the home, it just dawned on me that there was two elements that really weren't being accounted for. It was the personal element, which was all these amazing people, tradespeople that would come together on a daily basis and work together. And then there was a technology component, which was completely missing. And so there was a lot of, legal pads and frankly, fax machines and all this stuff back then. And so it dawned on me that we would be much more efficient and I would be a much happier homeowner if we could take all of the people and connect them together with technology to ensure that they were able to work more efficiently. And I just knew people connected over technology is more efficient than the chaos of just showing up and hoping things work out. So that was really the genesis of it. And then, me being the naive person that I guess I am, thought, you know what? Why don't I try to fix this? I think I have some ideas of how we can connect everybody on a global platform. And here we are almost two decades later, and we're still endeavoring to, achieve that mission, but I think we're well on our way.
Oh, absolutely. And your journey pre-Procore makes it look like founding Procore was always meant to be, as you were illustrating. It's the perfect marriage of construction exposure and the tech world, but there's more to it than that. So as a University of Arizona flunkout, can you actually distill the notion for us that antiquated conventional academia is required to achieve massive global intercontinental business success?
Well, I guess I would like to say I'm somewhat of the living proof of that. So yes, my path was very non-traditional. I was both of my sisters older than me had gone to college and had excelled and succeeded. And here I am getting a 0.3 grade point average. I don't know if that's a universal thing, but let's just say that is very close to failing out of college. But so, what I learned about myself, and this is what I think is really important to think about, is I learned early on that what makes me tick is practical applications of knowledge. I want to learn what I want to learn when it's appropriate to what I'm trying to achieve. And what I found with school was the sequential, reading and diatribes of all this information, and then regurgitating it back, on a test just didn't really resonate with me. So I wasn't doing very well. What I found was, though, over time, that there's a lot of folks out there especially in the construction industry, that frankly don't need that 4-year education. And in fact, what's so cool, Eleanor, is that when I walk into a job site, it doesn't matter if it's a small job site or one of the largest stadiums here in the United States, the folks sitting in those job site trailers and the folks that are carrying the iPads around the job site, those folks are highly, highly proficient at technology, problem solving, coordination and logistics. Frankly, in a lot of cases, probably better capable at doing those things than some of my friends with a 4-year diploma. So what this has turned into is a real passion around the industry, around the people who do the work. And that's why one of the reasons why we give back through Procore.org and provide all the continuing education to the tradespeople for free. So people actually have access to the information they need to excel in their world without having to go get that 4-year diploma. So I guess I'm proof. It's a cautionary tale. I'm not telling people to drop out of school, but I am telling people, get to know who you are, how you tick, tap into that. And I think that's one of the measures of kicking off a successful career.
Even if someone was to end the interview here and just run with that, that is invaluable, because if you just take that piece of advice as your foundations and build an empire on it, I think you're doing really, really well. Tooey, when you're faced with an idea, as you've just mentioned, you've previously said for people to go examine themselves, but you can't say that most people know who they are. Why is this so important to do at the ideation phase, do you think?
Well, it is probably the most foundational, critical piece for any career. So it's not easy to do, right? Because everyone's ego wants to make yourself believe that you can do just about anything. But I think we all, when we take that moment and we actually reflect on where our passion comes from, because passion is a thing that's going to propel you out of bed. It's so funny, Eleanor, last night I was laying in bed at like 1 a.m. and I was thinking about this product that we're building, and I couldn't fall asleep. I was like a kid at the holiday, season time, ready to open my presents. You can't fake that passion, right? But if somebody made me think about, I'm not good at finance, right? And I'm also not great at marketing. And if I had to focus on those things, I would still be struggling to launch Procore today. So it's not easy to do, but I really do encourage people that want to see their passions all the way through to some form of success to really look at that. I want to tell one quick story, because that came from my uncle Jack Courtemanche, who is my dad's brother. He worked in Ronald Reagan's White House in the United States back in the 1980s. He was Nancy Reagan's chief of staff. And I remember him telling me, I asked him the question, how in the world did Ronald Reagan become president? He was an actor. And my uncle said he knew his weaknesses, and he staffed the people around him to support him that would allow him to be successful. And I never left that behind me, and I always did that. And I found Steve Zaum, who has been with me since the dawn of Procore, and he was the Stanford grad. He went to business school, and he, plus my passion around product and engineering, was able to propel us to where we are today. So it is about learning your weaknesses and really honing in on your strengths, in my mind.
And I know that has been an integral part to your success, which we will circle back on towards the end of the industry. But as you know, and as Steve Jobs said, looking back, it's easy to connect the dots and actually see where your idea has come from. But without actually opening your mind to ideas and opportunities and micro niches, hundreds of millions of dollars can enter and leave one's mind uncapitalized in this lifetime. So how do you know, Tooey, that you're onto a winning idea, and how do you generate ideas?
It's a great question. And it's really hard to say because ideation is it's one of those kind of mystical things that happens at the inopportune times or when you just least expect it. But for me, my focus has always been on come up with the broad framework that'll help me achieve my objectives. So for Procore, it was let's create a platform that really does enable everyone to connect together, on one single platform, and that would mean like having an unlimited user model, so everybody can be there, and there's no restrictions to that. And then tap into the customer, listen closely to what the customer actually needs, and apply that within the guardrails of the framework that I established. So I wish I could tell you that that all the great ideas have come from me, but they really haven't. The great idea that I had was to come up with a platform to connect everybody so jobs can be done on time and on budget and safely. And then beyond that, it's just this need to listen to the industry and deliver. Great. Can I tell you a quick story?
Of course.
Great example of that is 2017, Procore takes the show on the road. We opened up our first international office in Sydney. I think we had like 4 people down. We sent 4 people down there. And on my first trip down there, my team that was on the ground after just several months had told me, in ANZ, there's a real focus on safety and quality, unlike anything that we've seen anywhere else. And so we dug into that very deeply, and we're like, wow, that's, though safety is a number one concern of a lot of folks, there just hasn't been this focus on it. And what we learned was that your market in particular had really done a lot of thinking around the importance of quality and safety. And there was some legislation obviously enacted that really kind of accelerated that. But we were able to kind of hear what you had to say as a collective community, distill that down into some products around our quality and safety management. And then what we found, and I think really ANZ should really be proud about this, is that globally now those products are absolutely well received and adopted. And it really generated from your markets and our ability just to listen to what you were telling us. And that, I think, is the secret to innovation, is distilling those ideas from great people's minds and make it into something that's is valuable.
And that it absolutely is. And of course, we see the success that Procore globally has today. But Tooey, what did the first few years of business actually look like when you were realizing the infinite potential of Procore? Can you lift the curtain on what it took from you on a personal and professional level to be on this global entrepreneurial journey?
Yes. It's funny. I don't want to sugarcoat it, right? It was really, really difficult for years. And so I think what I had, fortunately, kind of as part of my DNA was I was so passionate about this vision of connecting everyone on our global platform that I didn't give up. But it was rough. We were selling software, Eleanor, to people that didn't have the internet at the job site, right? I was literally referred to as the idiot that was selling software to people who couldn't buy it, right? But what's so funny about that over time, and it was a long time, right? So 2002 till like 2000, well, the iPhone came out in 2007, iPad came out in 2011. Arguably, the internet really made it the job site around 2011, 2012. So I was the idiot who all of a sudden nothing changed in me. I didn't get smarter, but all of a sudden I was this visionary when the internet made it the job site. And it's just interesting because I never changed, right? It was just the circumstances changed. But I'll tell you, it was rough. Going into the office every day and just knowing that we were not able to make payroll, and that I went for several years without a paycheck, and my wife was not very happy about that. It was a little rough, but I never ever stopped with my conviction that if we had the time, that the industry was telling me they needed these solutions, that if we can just hold out long enough and partner well with the community, that we were going to be successful. And time has kind of bore out the fact that we've had a certain amount of success, which I'm proud of.
How important do you think timing was with Procore's entry to market?
I think about that a lot, Eleanor, and I think it actually was very important. It's a component of success, but frankly, the business model is probably a bigger component to success. It's the fact that we don't sell seat licenses or tokens or things that are kind of hard to conceptualize and that limit the ability for people to work together. Because remember, again, when I started Procore, it was about people and technology. And so when we think about the success that Procore has been able to see, the business model enables all users to get together on a platform and work together effectively. And so it's, I think timing is a piece. I think luck is a piece, frankly, but I think the biggest piece is the business model aligning with the needs and the desires and the passions of the customer. And if you get those three things right, you have a lot of tailwinds.
Oh, absolutely. And in my first exposure to Procore, it wasn't how the software worked, which drew me in. It was your vision to change people's lives and how they actually interact with the industry and actually giving them their life back within the industry. And that's extremely powerful and very captivating, and certainly what the industry needs at a minimum.
We are pride ourselves on the people both inside of Procore and the folks that we work with in the industry. Culture eats strategy, and we will always. I think we will always be. I think I am most proud of, and therefore I brag about the fact that we've been able to maintain culture at scale. And that we actually have customers that come to a thing that we call we have a whole bunch of different things that Procore.org has, but we'll bring our customers together in a thing called Culture Academy, where we share best practices globally with the biggest customers and the smallest customers who want to talk about how do you create a competitive advantage, a real business advantage by investing in your people. Because it's not just about what you do, it's how you do it and with who you do it with. And frankly, it's one of the areas I'm most proud.
As business owners, some can't see the immediate ROI when they actually invest in their people, but you've made that an integral part of everything that you do, from global conferences and so many opportunities, both internally and externally. Can you again confirm how important that actually is for business leaders to do?
That it is the most important, and I do think that that most of the folks I talk to in the construction world have really come to realize that their biggest asset is their people. And it's not just about hiring the best people, because once you hire them, you need people to feel like their thoughts are valued and their skills are put to use, and that they are part of something that's bigger than themselves. And that's where engagement comes in. And it's this whole thing about bringing in the whole person to their job every single day. And the difference is that where you don't get that done right, people just show up and punch the clock. At Procore, we believe that we try to hire people that bought into the mission, because when you are, it's just what you do every day, and you do it with pride, and you do it with zeal and gusto, and you run fast, and you have a lot of empathy for the end user. And so I tell you that there's probably nothing more important. And the way I think about it, Eleanor, is I look at our company, Procore. If you took the people out of it, there's not that much left, right? We have some technology and whatever else, but when you put the people back in, it is the most special thing I've ever seen in my life. So it's all about the people.
It must feel very special to be able to look back and reflect and know that that's where Procore has ended up after 17 years, and of course, moving forward in business. But circling back on that start of the entrepreneurial journey, you don't get to experience what you do today without making it through those very challenging, steep years at first. So, Tooey, what is it about your natural disposition which has allowed you to persist in the face of all adversity and economic conditions for 17 years of Procore's evolution?
I'm one of those entrepreneurs that have latched on to this idea and this passion of solving this problem. And so to me, that's pulls me through this whole journey. I've always been so connected with solving the problems of the inefficiencies and construction that it helps to have that kind of I always call it a dog on a bone, but like it's just being so passionate about solving that problem. And then beyond that, the fact that I have the ability to connect, like right now, since COVID started, I do a call a day with a customer. And the fact that the customers are telling us, you're actually allowing our people to have a better life, right? They're able to do more outside of work because they're not doing double data entry and all the other complexities that come with the softwares of the past. So it really is ingratiating to know that we're not only building software, but we're changing the world and we're improving the lives of everyone in construction. So that really helps a lot.
Connection is the new currency, and without connection in the social age, do you really think that people can portray their vision, make that impact? I mean, how important is the concept of connection in business and even just life today?
Well, I feel like you teed that one up for me perfectly because there are very few roles in this world that require no connections, right? Where you go to work every day and you work as a silo. Maybe a writer, maybe an author, but really, where the complexity hits the world. Don't even think about construction. Think about the medical industry, right? If when you go into a operating room, you have all these different people that are coming together that have to be coordinated, connected, understood, and like you're talking about life and death. And when you think about construction, you have all the different trades coming together: architects, engineers, your contractors, your owners, and your material equipment suppliers, banks, lenders, and insurers. All these folks. How in the world are you going to be successful if you don't have people working off the same set of information, working coordinated in a way that makes the efforts not ineffective, people showing up at the right time at the right job site with the right materials and the right equipment? All of that requires connection. And really, when I think about we think about this a lot at Procore. There's a direct correlation between projects that are successful with the ability of those teams to connect and to build high levels of trust. It's indisputable that is the case. So why would you do it any other way? Our platform enables us to bring everyone together and build that trust and keep everyone connected. And I always think about it, once people adopt this concept of digitization and connecting with each other, both through technology and then personally, no one ever goes back. No one ever says, you know what, that didn't really work. Let's go back to the old ways of using cell phones and legal pads and let's just see how it goes. So I think it's probably the most important thing. And by the way, it's also the most rewarding thing. Like I said, when I come to work every day, I don't come to work at Procore because we have a great office. I come to work at Procore every day because we have great people. And it's that connection that really makes me energized and keep going.
Well, everything that you're saying, of course, has made you the most worthy recipient of the 2020 Venki Narayaramurthy Entrepreneurial Leadership Award from the UC Santa Barbara College of Engineering. You are the ultimate entrepreneur, but let's inspire some minds. Tooey, we know that there is no shortcut to exceptional levels of success, not just that you've had, but globally to achieve that. But human nature demands knowing the path of least resistance. What is your best advice to inspiring and aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, I think I've said it a little bit and I'll say it again. Know thyself, right? Really do know yourself. Really understand where you're going to have the most impact. And then again, surround yourself with great people. I think that's number one. Number two is if you can have a great idea, but unless the marketplace, customers value what you sell, you're not going to go anywhere. So I would say you could never be too customer focused, never be too close to the customer. When we're releasing new features and new product, and I have the customers telling us that they value what we've done, valued enough they want to pay for it, and it's actually going to improve their lives. It makes you feel like you've de-risked it and that you're actually now are able to deliver value and you feel confident in what you're doing. I know a lot of leaders and a lot of entrepreneurs can follow a path of passion around an idea that's not validated and you can follow it too far. So again, I think know yourself, know your strengths, know your weaknesses. And the other thing I would tell just about anybody is the thing that I know is the difference between people that succeed and people who don't succeed. People who succeed are willing to make decisions and to move quick and to fail. And so to have a culture where failure is actually not only like accepted, but it's actually celebrated because it means that you have forward momentum and you're learning. is probably the most important thing. And really, there's a direct correlation between success and people that are able to move fast and make decisions, as opposed to people who sit around and just really, over pontificate and over talk. And, the difference between, I think, entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs, in my mind, this is oversimplification, is it's the difference between people who, are willing to take a risk, put the resources behind it, and actually do something, as opposed to just talk about it. And that's really what the difference is. You see an opportunity, you're willing to put your livelihood at risk and put your resources at work, and you're willing to get up every single day and fight for that idea until you see the success. And I think that's one of those things that you just have to do. And make decisions, move fast, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not failure, it's learning, and keep going.
If there is one ethos that I wholly subscribe to, is exactly that. There are people who do and those who do not do. There is no interim. There is no such thing as trying. I mean, that concept of trying doesn't even exist. Tooey, before we wrap up, I would love to touch on your leadership acumen. And it's very clear that a large part of your success is generated by surrounding yourself with the best and brightest. But as you know, A-grade people only want to work with A-grade leaders. So can you talk to us about what your exceptional leadership proposition looks like and how you've managed to surround yourself and attract and retain the very, very best?
Well, first, you have to put yourself in my shoes for a second. Again, I'm the college dropout. I'm the college flunk out who I now go to work every day, not only with the most amazing, accomplished technology leaders that have joined us in this mission, but also with our customers that are at the highest level of their game. And I sit there and I just still have that pinch myself moment every day, which is, how did this carpenter who frankly, shouldn't be here end up here? So I start with gratitude, but it's always been, and trust me, my last company was not, I worked as a consultant with large companies that didn't have great cultures. When I started Procore, I said to myself, not only do I want to, change the world, but I want to do it with people I want to go to work with every day. So early on, Steve Zaum, who's Procore's president at the time, and I decided we were going to codify our vision and our mission and our values, and we were going to hire without exception to those. And if anybody, anybody hit one, so our values are openness, ownership, and optimism. If anyone in a hiring process didn't have all three of those, that would be a compromise, and we wouldn't do it. So we were very rigorous around hiring to the values, and then to make sure that people were bought into the mission, connecting everybody in construction, and to elevate the lives is the vision of everyone in construction. So we built it around that. And then slowly but surely, we were bringing on great people. Those great people attract more great people. Then you have beautiful things like, Glassdoor, which is a way, just a reflection of how your culture is seen by the people that are working inside, which then helps you attract more great people. And then those great people bring people that they've worked with. And it's this perpetual flywheel of talent begets talent begets talent. And it's not because people wake up and are passionate about construction technology when they were going through college. It's because people want to work with great people who are engaged and believe in the same beliefs that they have. And that is just this flywheel. And so every day I get to meet these just amazingly accomplished people that not only work at Procore, but are in the industry. And again, it's a pinch me moment for most of the time, which I just cannot believe I get the opportunity to work with these people.
And it's all in the name of the vision. Tooey, I would love to continue asking you question after question about Procore's evolution, about the person that you have become in order to achieve what you have. But in order to wrap up, I have a signature question, and it is,
Okay.
the building block that has been imperative to getting you to where you are today?
It's probably most built on this work ethic that I bring to work every single day. I don't know where it came from, Eleanor. I just don't know it, but I have this kind of unstoppable passion to go. And there's a famous quote by Winston Churchill, which is, success is defined by somebody who faces failure time and time again with no diminishing enthusiasm. And I just have this thing that I don't know where it came from, and I'm fortunate I have it, but it's just, I just keep showing up and I keep running hard. And I'm never going to be satisfied till we meet that final objective of connecting everyone in construction on a global platform.
It's not talent that wins at the end of the day. It's a person who has kept on running at the end of the day and is the last person standing that has a higher tendency of winning.
I couldn't agree with you more. Now, I can only speak for myself. It works for me. I wasn't blessed with the all of the talents that a lot of people have. So I had to work through kinetic energy and dedication. So that's my trick, at least.
Tooey, my heart is full of gratitude for the immense insight and value that you have added to the industry, and to, of course, every person who will listen to this episode. Thank you very much for who you are, for what you are doing, and for what every single person in Procore is doing. I hope we find Procore on every single site, and I wish you nothing but the best of success in the pursuit of every single ambition. Thank you, Tooey.
Oh, well, thank you. And I do want to say one last thing, which is, I do not love talking about myself, and it's not about me. I am surrounded by a ton of great people, but I think you and I can agree on one thing, that we service the greatest industry in the world, and that the real gratitude and the real focus on success should be the people who do the work every single day to make it so we can lead the lives. They build the hospitals that we need. They build the roads we need. They build the schools that our children need. Those are the real heroes. Those are the ones. That's the success we should be celebrating. So I just wanted to say thank you, but point that out as well.
Oh, of course, there are so many people who make a conscious decision, hopefully conscious, to wake up and say, I want to be a better part of this industry. And this is what we're here for, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, a pleasure to meet you. Let's do this again. I have so much more I'd love to talk to you. And I have all these questions I want to ask you. So I look forward to someday having the opportunity to talk to you.
Constructing You Part 2.
You got it. I'm on board. Thanks, Eleanor.
Thank you for listening. If you loved this episode and know someone else in the industry who wants to achieve more and succeed on their own terms in their career via learning from the best, then please share this with them. You can also tag me on social media, sharing your greatest takeaways. And of course, I'd love to see you in the free Constructing You podcast Facebook group to be part of the growing community. Until the next episode, I want to see you win. Here's to constructing you.